Kunja Vihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari. Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana. Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana. Jamuna Tira Vanachadi. Jamuna Tira Vanachadi.
Jamuna Tira Vanachadi.
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari.
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari.
Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari.
Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari.
Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari.
Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari.
Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana. Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana. Jamuna Tira Vanachari. Oh, Jamuna Tira Vanachari. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari. Sri Radha Madhava ki, Sri Radha Giridhari ki. Go Premanande. Jaya Om Vishnupad Paramhamsa Puri Raja Shodara Sri Srimad. His Divine Grace Savai Janana Ravinda Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Grantara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Samaveda Bhakti Vinay ki jai. Go Premanandi. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to assembled devotees. All glories to assembled devotees. All glories. All glories. CC Guru and Singh Gauranga. So this morning, reading from the Srimad Bhagavatam, 4th Canto, 9th chapter, text 25. Continuing the history of Dhruva Maharaj. So this is the verse where he finally gets what he asked for, and much more. Confirmed. He went to the forest for a reason. He had an idea in his mind, his sankalpa, his idea that I want this, his determination. So now Krishna's coming full circle around and saying, okay, here you go. It's way beyond anything you could possibly imagine. So, text 25. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Narayanam Namaskritam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Mudirayat. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai. Tato Gantasi Matstanam
Mukantasi Mattanam.
Sarvaloka Namaskritam
Sarvaloka Namaskritam.
Uparishtad Rishibhyastvam
Mastad Rishibhastvam.
Yato Navartate Gataha
Donavartate Gataha.
Tato Gantasi Matstanam
Gantasi Matstanam.
Sarvaloka Namaskritam
Sarvaloka Namaskritam.
Uparishtad Uparishtad Rishibhyastvam
Uparistad Rishibhyastvam.
Yato Navartate Gataha
Donavartate Gataha.
Tato Gantasi Matstanam
Gantasi Matstanam.
Sarvaloka Namaskritam
Sarvaloka Namaskritam.
Uparishtad Rishibhyastvam
Uparistad Rishibhyastvam.
Tato Navartate Gataha
Donavartate Gataha.
Tato Gantasi Matstanam Sarvaloka Namaskritam Uparishtad Rishibhyastvam Tato Navartate Gataha Tato Gantasi Matstanam Sarvaloka Namaskritam Uparishtad Rishibhyastvam
Donavartate Gataha.
Tato Gantasi Matstanam Sarvaloka Namaskritam Uparishtad Rishibhyastvam Gandhati Gataha
Gantasi Mattanam. Sarvaloka Namaskritam.
Sarvaloka Namaskritam
Uparistad Rishibhyastvam.
Uparishtad Rishibhyastvam
Donavartate Gataha.
Yato Navartate Gataha. Synonyms. Tataha.
Gataha.
Excuse me, thereafter. Gata Asi. You will go. Matstanam. To my abode. Sarvaloka. By all planetary systems. Nama Kritam. Offered obeisances. Aparishtat. Situated higher. Rishibhya. Than the planetary systems of the rishis. Tvam. You. Yataha. Where from? Na. Never. Avartate. Will come back. Gataha. Having gone there. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Supreme Personality of Godhead continued, my dear Dhruva, after your material life in this body, you will go to my planet, which is always offered obeisances by the residents of all other planetary systems. It is situated above the planets of the 7 rishis, and having gone there, you will never have to come back again to this material world. The Supreme Personality of Godhead continued, my dear Dhruva, after your material life in this body, you will go to my planet, which is always offered obeisances by the residents of all other planetary systems. It is situated above the planets of the 7 rishis. And having gone there, you will never have to come back again to this material world. Purport. In this verse, the word na avartate is very significant. The Lord says, you will not come back to this material world, for you will reach matstanam, my abode. Therefore, Dhruvaloka, or the pole star, is the abode of Lord Vishnu within this material world, Upon it there is an ocean of milk, and within that ocean there is an island known as Shvetadvip. It is clearly indicated that this planet is situated above the 7 planetary systems of the rishis, and because this planet is Vishnuloka, it is worshipped by all other planetary systems. It may be questioned here, what will happen to the planet known as Dhruvaloka at the time of the dissolution of the universe? The answer is simple. Dhruvaloka remains like other Vaikuntha-lokas beyond this universe. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur has commented in this connection that the very word na vartate indicates that this planet is eternal. Umagyantimirandasya gyananjana salakaya chaksul ulminidam nenataishmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivashati Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Excuse me. Manchikapaturupashcha Kripashindurbevacham Patitanam Bhavanindro Vaishnavindro Namo Namaha. So with your permission and blessings, I'll try to say a few things. Badramte, Badramte, Badramte. Personality of Godhead continued, my dear Dhruva. Here it is. What is this? So, previous verse was a blessing also, that even in this lifetime you'll receive all these blessings, a long life, and all kinds of your life here will be very successful. And now he's continuing with the benediction. He says, my dear Dhruva, after your material life in this body, when it's over, and how many years was he given? 36,000 years. Just think what you could do with 36,000 years, Zach. It's a lot of kirtans. Wow. My dear Dhruva, after your material life in this body, you will go to my planet, which has always offered obeisance by the residents of all other planetary systems. It is situated above the planets of the 7 rishis, and having gone there, you will never have to come back again to this material world. So, of course, as you will not come back to this material world, you'll have reached my Matstana, my abode, and it's referring to the Dhruvaloka or pole star. It's a Vaikuntha planet in this material world. One example Srila Prabhupada gives is just like a foreign embassy. It's like we have our foreign embassies, and we have our embassies in other countries, and they have theirs here. And it's accepted international law that when you step into a foreign embassy, the laws of the country that it's in do not apply. The laws of that particular country do apply. So people sometimes seek asylum by going into a foreign embassy. Because you see that you go into an American embassy, you won't really find them going into a Pakistani or Ugandan embassy or something like that. When they want to come to America, sometimes they'll seek asylum there. And because it's not considered part of that country. And even diplomats have some type of, what's the word I'm trying to think of? Immunity. Thank you. Diplomatic immunity. And that the laws of the particular country don't apply. And when they do something wrong, their country pulls them out as fast as possible, brings them home. Like that. Because it doesn't look very good. But still, they're immune to the laws of that particular country. So that's a mundane example. It's quite pertinent, though. So in the exact same way, what's going on in Dhruvaloka, that's a Vaikuntha planet. It's a planet that's situated in this, seemingly in this material world, but is not really in this material world. Prabhupada also gives the example of the temples. I know he's probably said it at a few temples around the world, but Los Angeles, I know there's that one table. Prabhupada says, you think you're in Los Angeles, you're not in Los Angeles. You're in the spiritual world. Because wherever Krishna is, that's the spiritual world. It's a different place, wherever Krishna is worshipped. So, that's one of the lessons from this particular verse, is the fact that for Krishna, it doesn't really matter, material world or spiritual world. Just like people say, Naham prakasha sarvasya yoga maya samabritaha. And what is that also? Namam niskuti mudha parpajante naradama. The mudas and fools, they think Krishna is an ordinary tanum asuktam asuktaha. They think he's an ordinary person. It's a material body. Therefore, they're called Mayavadis. There are many different names, atheists and what have you. No, Krishna is an ordinary person. Krishna is maybe a little extraordinary. And maybe it's just what happens over the course of time. Sometimes an ordinary person becomes raised to the platform of extraordinary just by the passing of time, zealous followers, things like that, right? Just like Paul Bunyan. He might have been an ordinary person when it started out, but now he's some gigantic guy with a gigantic oxen, right? So you never know. Sometimes that happens. An ordinary person is moved to the status, and they're just an ordinary person. So they're thinking like that. Krishna is just an ordinary person. But Krishna is not an ordinary person, nor is his abode an ordinary place. And so I guess for us, we're not on Dhruvaloka, but we are here in New Govardhan. So how to think about the temple, how to respect it as the abode of the Lord, and not just 1030 Grand Avenue. Right? Where's the temple? 1030 Grand Avenue. But is this temple really limited to 1030 Grand Avenue? What do you think? No, the temple, you say, it's 1030 Grand Avenue. But are we really at 1030 Grand Avenue when we walk in these doors? You can walk into, what's the place next door? It's an architect's office, and it's a hair place, right? So next time you want to shave up, you can go in there if you like. But you'll feel quite different than when it's just different. This is not a mundane address, And so the point is, Krishna makes himself, for him, matter and spirit, there's no difference, and he's actually omnipresent. So that Goloka Eva, he's in Goloka, but what is that? Paramanu Antarastam. He's in every single atom in his completeness. In his completeness, not like it's a little Krishna. And you got like a really, really atomic-sized Krishna. No, it's in his completeness. 100%. Krishna and the whole spiritual world and everything's there in the atom. It's inconceivable. Ajintarupam, inconceivable form. Inconceivable. Well, that's Krishna. So, Krishna's doing that, so for him to create a temple, an atmosphere where he can be personally worshipped and approached, or a spiritual planet in the material world, what's the problem? There's no problem whatsoever. Vaikuntha. A Vaikuntha Loka in the spiritual world. And that's what he gave to Dhruva Maharaj. It was described earlier, Dhruva's realization was that, my dear Lord, just like there's that other verse in that other scripture, I was looking for broken pieces of glass, but actually you give me the greatest gem. He gave devotional service, but also he was thinking, I'll get a kingdom bigger than Lord Brahma. But he's thinking in mundane terms. And of course, and Prabhu brought up in a previous purport, what could he give him? Because Brahma has the whole universe. So it has to be something beyond this whole material universe. So he gave him the Vaikuntha planet, which is greater than anything. It's the material world. One day will all dissolve. Just like the one description here, just like there's a partial devastation when Lord Brahma goes to sleep. The whole universe, up to certain planets, the rishis, it fills with water. Devastation. And then Brahma wakes up and he's got to put everything back together. And then when he passes away, it all goes away. So that's a very, very long amount of time. We don't have to even worry about that because we live in what's called the neighborhood called Marchaloka. And just like there's different neighborhoods in SanDiego. What's an unpleasant neighborhood in SanDiego? Do you know? You've been here long enough, do you know? Lemon Grove is unpleasant. How about you? Do you know? You've been around for a while. City Heights. Skyline. Okay. Yeah, your East County kind of place, maybe. People like that. How about the what do you call it, the barrio? Some people are afraid to go there. Barrio Logan, ay caramba. Like that. It's muy peligroso. Especially en la noche, at night. Very dangerous. So, Logan Heights, man. So, difficult. Dangerous. You wouldn't want to go there. Right? Bad neighborhood. So we're in a bad neighborhood. It's called Marchaloka. It's a pretty bad neighborhood. Why is it such a bad neighborhood? Because death comes so quickly. That's why people aren't going to these neighborhoods and get killed. Who knows what's going to happen? So our annihilation is the fact that we live such a short life. Any moment death can come. That's called Marchaloka. Any minute death can come. And it's interesting, people are so infatuated with it because the news is always every day someone's died, right? Some kind of natural catastrophe or accident on 805 or this or that. Death, 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 death. It's always talking about, right? It's just all around us because it just happens so quickly. We don't live very long here. So that's the annihilation we have to worry about. How much time do we have left before we have to leave? But that's the nature of this material world. But Dhruva Maharaj was given a planet where there's no death. And not only that, when he goes there, he doesn't have to worry about returning to the material world. There's a verse like that in Bhagavad Gita in the 15th chapter. Krishna explains, so 15:6, that na tad basate suryo na sasanka napavakaha. So he's talking about the spiritual world. Yad gadva nadivartante tad dhamma paramam mama. That supreme abode of mine is not illumined by the sun or moon, nor by fire or electricity. Those who reach it never return to this material world. So Krishna is saying here that you don't, in a few places in Bhagavad Gita, he's saying when you go there, you don't come back. Janma karma chame divyam evam yoveti tatpadaha. Tvaktaham what is that last line? Na punam, na naitimam iti so Arjuna. Punar means again, you don't come back again. If you understand my janma karma chame divyam, the transcendental of my appearance and activities, if you understand me in tattvata, in truth, then you don't come back. Because that's the only reason we're in the material world is we've forgotten all of that. We've become so preoccupied with number one. Who's number one? Hey! Right? With number one. Well, you know something? We're not number one. Right? We're not number one at all. In fact, I don't know what number we are, but we're definitely not number one. Probably not number 2 or 10 or top 100 or 500 or whatever. Just like they have this Forbes 500 or this or that or whatever. We don't rate. We don't. We're insignificant jiva, right? What is that verse? Ainanda tanuja kinkanam patitam mam vishame babam badao kripaya tavapada pankaja stiti duli, particle of dust. That's the mentality of the devotee. I'm not number one. I'm like a particle of dust at your feet. That's how the devotee feels. And that type of mentality is what brings us home back to Godhead and keeps us there. But when we start thinking, I'm number one, I'm so important, I'm this, I'm that, then, hey, it's the material world. That's the difference between the material world and the spiritual world. So, Dhruva Maharaj has received his benediction, and he's given the information that you'll never have to come back to this material world again. So, all these, Krishna is very, very, very kind. And as I said earlier, his realization was that whatever blessing Krishna gives us, it's far beyond anything we could possibly calculate. That's Krishna. Krishna is very, very kind. It's beyond our wildest imagination and dreams how Krishna reciprocates. Prabhupada gives one example in his personal life, that sometimes in lectures he mentions that it was not easy, but he gave up his family life. You know, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta kept coming to him in dreams, and his godbrothers urging him, and he didn't want to do it. He said he was scared. But he gave up. He said, I gave up my wife and my children and so on, and now, by Krishna's mercy, I have hundreds of children. And he said, they're much better than my own children. He said, they take care of me so much nicer than my own children. He said, all over the world. So, you know, how many children Prabhupada have? 5? 5 children. So he gave up 5 children and had hundreds and hundreds of children all over the world. And he said, taking so much nicer care of me beyond his wildest dreams. So that's one example Prabhupada gave about how Krishna you surrender to Krishna, he'll give you so much more. We have to have that faith and understanding, that faith that Krishna will reciprocate beyond our wildest dreams. You know, another example, maybe it's Shruti Kirti or Harisari was telling the story that, Prabhu was in Jhansi, trying to preach in Jhansi. And it wasn't working out. And Prabhu was trying to make it work out. It's his preaching program, trying to make it work out and so on. But he said, Krishna forced me to what was the word? He said, like, go out into the world, to go out, to leave all this, to go out to the real world. He thought it was, I got a preaching engagement here. But he said, no, go. Push him out. And look what happened, because the Jhansi thing fell apart, and Prabhupada finally came here to the Western world. Yeah, she wanted a women's club, a women's club, and Prabhupada could have stayed there and got another building and so on. I don't know if it was a God, brothers, but that was the word, to go out, just leave it all behind. Go out, more, expand the preaching. So it's, and look how Krishna reciprocated. So we have to always leave our options open for Krishna to reciprocate with us. And keep pushing the limits. There's that saying, you don't know how far you can go until you've gone too far. You ever hear that one? Right. It's true, though, if you think about it. You don't know how far you can go until you've gone too far. And, in other words, keep going. Keep pushing, like that, because you don't know. Maybe you can just keep going. And especially in spiritual life, Krishna, as much service as you want to do, Krishna will give you. He'll give you unlimited service. He'll give you unlimited service. And the ability to perform that service. It's called being empowered. Krishna empowers his devotees to do amazing things. Amazing things. Like that. Superhuman things. And that's Krishna's happiness and his pleasure. He reciprocates with his devotees. And of course another lesson from here is the fact that, that planet's there, but also Krishna's actually everywhere. He's there at all the different temples. We gave that example. But he's also in our heart. There's a mandir in our heart. Isn't there a song like that? Yeah. Yeah, that might be a nice song. So it's there. It's like a temple in the heart. In fact, that's what we're supposed to do. It's brought out in the cleaning of the Gundicha temple, that one cleanses one's heart, so it's a nice sitting place for the Lord. I mean, Krishna's there, but the analogy is that it's got to be clean, otherwise Krishna's not going to sit there. Just like some of these times you see these chairs here, bring them in for a meeting with some people or a puja. You say, oh my God, they're dirty. I'm not going to have someone sit on that. I got wipe it down because it's been outside. It's kind of dusty or dirty, or some bird had sat on it and left his signature. So you got to clean it. It's not a proper sitting place. So our hearts are like that. Who knows all the things in our heart? So we have to cleanse the heart. Then Krishna will sit there. He's there. So as far as going back home, back to Godhead, we're already there if we're Krishna conscious. Right? We're already there. That's why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu can pray, Nadanam najanam nasunim kavitam bha jagadisha kame mama janmani janmanishware bhavatat bhakta hoitiki toi. That janmani ishware. I don't really care, birth after birth after birth, as long as I'm engaged in devotional service. That's the spiritual world. That's the spiritual world for the devotee. The material body, the material world is inconsequential for one who's fully absorbed in devotional service. Why? Because they see that this is it's all Krishna's property, and they see Krishna everywhere. One who sees me everywhere and sees everything in me, I'm never lost to him, nor is he ever lost to me, Krishna says. Right? And just the opposite. If you don't see me anywhere, you don't see anything in relationship to me, I'm lost to you and you're lost to me. Right? That's the opposite of it. So these are different takeaway points from this particular verse here. And you ever see the pole star? You up there? See that speaker right there? It's right above there, outside. That's the north, right there in that corner. So if you want to see it on, today's probably not a good night in the rain, but you see the pole star. And if you happen to be a person who stays up all night long, do we have any devotees like that? If you come and check it a few hours, you see how all the constellations are moving around. That's what's being referred to here. They're actually going around. They're circumambulating. When you see, like we circumambulate Tulsi, circumambulate, it's a sign of respect. So all the planetary systems are circumambulating that Vaikuntha planet. That's what's being referred to here. It's quite interesting. They're all circumvented because of the Vaikuntha planet. And on that Vaikuntha planet, Sveta Dweep, there's an island on an ocean of milk. I don't know what kind of milk that is. And sometimes you can speculate, what kind of milk is it? But there's actually an ocean of milk. An ocean of milk. And there's creatures in that, living entities swimming in an ocean of milk. Well fed, probably quite fatty, like that. Yes, Vishnu resides there, Sveta Dweep. This is the abode of Dhruva. Dhruva Maharaj has been given this abode. That's so, and that's where all the demigods go when there's a problem. They go to the shore of the ocean of milk. They offer Purusha Sukta, right? Sasrasirsha Purusha Sasrakshasrabada Sabumin Bishvato Britvat Tishta Dashangulam Purusham Evidam. Right there. They're offering that prayer out of 4 heads. Must be like, what do they say? Stereo is 2. What do you call them? There's 4. Quadrasonic. You get quadrasonic verses coming out for the pleasure of Lord Vishnu. Right? It must be beautiful. You can actually sing in different pitches out of each mouth. That must be a concert. Wonderful, ecstatic. Hearing Lord Brahma chant Vedic verses. So that's the abode. That's the gift given by Lord Narayan or Lord Krishna to Dhruva Maharaj. So it's 8:25. I will open it up for any questions or comments. Okay. Do you want a quick answer to your quick question?
If there is a quick answer. This island, Sveta Dweep, is it just Lakshmi and Vishnu that live there, or is it a whole spiritual atmosphere?
Yes, Krishna's never alone. Yeah. It's always surrounded by unlimited devotees. There's room for you too. Yeah, that was your worry. That's like no one's allowed. Just those two. And
I was just reading in the end of the 10th canto when Arjuna and when Krishna and Arjuna go to see Mahavishnu to retrieve the Brahman sons. It said that Mahavishnu was reclining on an Anantashesh in a palace in his spiritual city. So it said he lived in a city, which was kind of confusing because when I thought of Mahavishnu, I always think of that, lying down on the causal ocean. But in the verse or purport, it was saying that, he was in a spiritual city, like on a palace, being served by Nanda and Sunanda and all the different people. Interesting.
He expands himself into different types of forms and all that, but there's the Mahavishnu's. Because you have Mahavishnu there when Krishna and Arjuna went to see him, it wasn't like this gigantic form lying in the causal ocean with universes coming out. They went to his palace and asked him, hey, and he said, what's going on? I got the sons. Yeah, I got the sons. Like that. Yeah. It's Krishna's, it cannot calculate Krishna's opulences. Any other questions or comments? I have a question. It's not related to the class, but something I was thinking about. And there can be a discussion at ISKCON. But I'm wondering, during Prema Dwani, during Prema Dwani, whether it's after Artik or this Kirtan or whatever, then a bunch of devotees go do different things. They bring all the stuff for class and all that. Should it be that everyone, Prema Dwani is very important, you're offering respects, so should everyone just stop, do Prema Dwani, and then go gather whatever they have to do and this, that, and so on? Is it more appropriate that we all are concentrating on the Prema Dwani prayers and paying our obeisances, then get up and go do things instead of, not that it's not unimportant bringing stuff together for class or this or that, but I'm just wondering if it creates an atmosphere where, it's kind of a background. Prema Dwani is the background. What if there's any discussion on that or thoughts? Because you only get like 2 or 3 of them a day, and that's it. And if it's not a good class, you can just roll them away. If it's not a good class, you can just roll them out the door. Just like, maybe just more emphasized when there's less devotees. If you have a room full of 10, 12 devotees, then 2, 3 devotees taking time out to gather things. And, yeah. Okay, I was just wondering what the discussion was.
Yeah, in relation to the setting up a class and everything, I started doing that, and the reason I started doing that is because the class, everybody bows down, which there's only a few of us, and then what happens is the class starts late, and the speaker's just kind of waiting, because technically speaking, the speaker shouldn't have to bring the seat and start setting stuff up. Things should be set up as respect for the speaker. So the speaker may just be kind of like waiting for somebody to get it together. So that's why I started doing that. And also it's like more professional. Like let's say some special guest comes, and we're kind of like scrambling to set up the seat, and it's all late. It's just not respectful. So that's why I started doing it. I set it up for myself too when those prema dwanis are going on, because I just want things to kind of go on smoothly and not in a spaced out fashion, like waiting for the microphone to appear. And I don't want Dravida Prabhu also setting the microphone for me, so I just set up the microphone. And so I started doing it for myself and also others, who are speak. But like a lot of the problems or apparent problems at the temple could be solved if there's just more devotees, but we don't have so many devotees. But we're planning on making some devotees soon, so.
No, I'm opening up as just a conversation. I'm not voting in on one side. I was just noticing it's prema dwani, and then but devotees are all doing things. So, but they're serving devotees. That's what they're doing. Right. Yeah. Could we get some cardboard cutouts of devotees of paying obeisances or something? Okay, we can end here. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Dhruva Maharaj ki